Welcome back to the Barca Breakdown. My name is Adam. I'm here with Yus.
What's up, guys?
We are screwed, Yus. What an awful international break. I go into every international break with the worst expectations that, bad things will happen. Our team will come back after a good rhythm, and then we'll just, hit a low point in the season. And this is even worse than you could ever imagine with Araujo injured, having to get surgery, Kounde out for 3 to 4 weeks, Frenkie de Jong, Depay, Dembele feeling some stuff in his calf, and it's not even over yet. And then Yus coming up to pile onto it. We have the October from hell, as I'm calling it, with 2 Inter Milan games, Clasico, Bayern at the end of the month. We're playing La Liga teams, all of which are in the top 13 of the league standing right now. And so I couldn't imagine really a worse storm of events to happen leading into what is the crucial month of this season.
Yeah, it's so shitty that every time we talk about this international break, and we've been doing this for 3 years or so now, every time we come out of it and we're always just with our heads down, something's gone wrong. And this time it's...
what are we going to do, dude? Right? We've had to use Kounde as the right back the whole time. And then when we didn't use him, we basically used Araujo mostly. And now they're both out. And now, Gerard Piqué, who's had so many questions, is going to have to start. Christensen and Eric Garcia, who we both like, I think are going to do a fine job. But really, this has just turned a bad situation worse, right? Like, you come into this October from hell, and you're expecting, okay, we really need the team, everyone to be in the tip top of their form. We have to win at least one of 2 of these Inter games to make sure that we make it out of group stages in the Champions League, and our defense is in shambles. We have El Clasico coming up away at the Bernabeu, and we're going to have, I don't even know, defending Vinicius and defending Benzema, because I think he should be back by then. And so it's just pitiful. But why don't you go ahead and run us down, through the schedule so we can all kind of understand what we're about to face.
Okay. So we got 9 games this October, and it's going to be rough. I mean, the first game is going to be October 1st against Mallorca, and then we play our away game in Inter, then Celta, and then Inter at home, then Real Madrid away, then Villarreal, Athletic Bilbao, and then the home Bayern game, and then Valencia. And this is all in the span of about 30 days, and I'm really I don't know when we're going to rest players. I don't know what we can predict, Xavi's lineups with all these injured players. I mean, maybe it's so obvious who we have left, but, we have Christensen, Piqué, Garcia, we have Balde, Alba, Alonso on the left back, and then we have Sergio Roberto, Bellerin on the right side. And, how often have all these players been playing, and then we're just going to put all the pressure on them, put all these minutes on them, coming into this huge schedule. It's going to be really rough, dude. I don't know where we're going to, or what we're going to do.
The anchor of this month for sure has to be Ter Stegen.
Yeah,
right? He's had such an excellent season, and he's really going to need to pull out, a few huge saves. I think over the course of 30 days that are going to, really make or break our season. And so I think when we take a look at that schedule of the October from hell, and we look at the back line, I just want to figure out, okay, who do you think we're going to start at right back, right? Because Bellerin came in for one game. He had some moments where he looked pretty slow, and then some moments where it looked like, okay, this guy might be able to be a good sub or a good a player we play during rest games. Sergio Roberto has had some bright spots throughout the season, especially in the preseason and the first few games, and it's just so classic, right? Like we get Kounde to be the right back. We have Araujo who can sub in for him at times against pacey wingers, and it's like the oldest trick in the book, right? Sergio Roberto finds a way to be the guy who I think is going to start. And so that's my first question to you is, do you think it'll be Roberto? Do you think it'll be Bellerin? Are there other players like Eric Garcia who we might slot in there? What do you think Xavi's going to go with through this month?
I think he's definitely going to just play Sergio Roberto pretty much all of those games. Having Bellerin come in when he needs to rest him, which may be something like Celta, even though I think Celta has given us hassle the last few years, coming back from a 0-3 deficit and then even beating us in one of the games. So I think he may slot in Bellerin in a game where we must rest. Like, for example, Inter away is that game, and we must win that game. And then we have Celta, and then right after that we have Inter at home. And to really move on in the Champions League, we have to win those games, and then Celta seems like the only spot we could really rest Sergio Roberto between those two. And then
for me, what I think the big deal is Inter Milan, I think, are actually not as good as they were last season or the season before. So I'm less worried about them. I think for me, with the right back spot, we always come into like key matchups that are going to be pretty tough, right? And we have Bayern at the end of the month, and we saw Alphonso Davies, Sadio Mane, who can run terror down that side. And then, of course, in El Clasico, we have Vinicius. And I don't really feel confident with Sergio Roberto keeping pace with the players I just mentioned. And so early in the month, I actually feel less worried. I think definitely... well, it goes both ways, right? Like you're saying, Inter, we basically really need to beat them both home and away. Mm-hmm. And so we have perhaps the most important 2 games, in the first 4 games of the month. But then, Real Madrid, El Clasico, of course we want to win, right?
Sure.
La Liga is huge for us. And I think part of what this month is going to do is it's going to really make us choose, what is most important to us. And I think it has to be La Liga. I think our highest chance of winning a title will certainly be through Real Madrid and that La Liga title coming back to the Camp Nou. The Champions League, it's going to be really tough for us, and I don't know if we have what it takes to go all the way through and make it past, probably the quarterfinals or semifinals, but...
No, I definitely
we have to
agree
make it to the
with
group
you
stages, right? Because there's so much money at stake. And so, it's one of those, it's when I look at these games and think about which one is a must win, which one can we rest on, it's like asking which of your fingers you want to chop off.
No, definitely. I mean, this schedule is so rough that we're talking about, like if we had all these healthy players, I don't think we would be worried as much. But it also makes us focus and hone in on what's important, like you just said. And I totally agree with you. La Liga's got to be the focus here. I think we can even beat Inter one game and maybe even draw them another game. But, it kind of is up to them in that situation if they beat, Plzen or...
Plzen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely not want to play the game of can we make it through the Champions League up to this point, although there is money and getting back into the Champions League for next year, those qualifications that we don't have to worry about if we move on. But La Liga, we're fighting for the top. We're 2 points behind Real Madrid, and we're playing them right after Inter. That's got to be our top priority, to be honest.
So speaking of that use, and me talking about how at right back with Vinicius we might have some issues there.
Sure.
In terms of center back pairing, who do you think we're going to start here? Because for me, when I take a look at it in form and the amount of games they've played this season, it seems clear to me that Christian and Eric Garcia would have to be the 2 to start. Mm-hmm. But can Gerard Piqué come back and play? Like, there's so much drama going on around him with Shakira and, him and Xavi not wanting to play him. And there's some rumors that if we don't play him that much this season, we can kind of unilaterally terminate his contract next year. Like, do you think this is the month where Piqué comes back and shows us? Because if you remember last season, he was very good, right? So is this the month where Piqué shows us he is ready to play big minutes for us when we need him? Or is this the month where, kind of tried and true Christensen and Garcia so far this season will be the main center back pairing for Xavi?
I think Christensen and Garcia because Piqué is, the old guard, and Xavi's really been showing that he's switching out the old guard for these new young players, giving them time, giving them opportunities to be under pressure, to fail, to grow. And, this month in particular is one of those opportunities. I don't think, at the end of the day that it would be great to just say, okay, Piqué, now all the pressure's on you. I know we're not really relying on you regularly, but you now get this huge project and you have to deal with it on your own, essentially. It doesn't make sense to end up putting Piqué in that position. I do think he'll definitely be a great substitute to give these other players a rest so that they can perform better in the bigger games. He also, I still think Piqué, he hasn't had a lot of minutes. He may not be as fast playing against some of these quick attackers that you were referring to earlier in Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. So I just think Garcia and Christensen have had a lot more time, but I still question Eric Garcia's physicality sometimes. I think he tries to use his body a lot more, but he's a little bit smaller than some of these other players. So Piqué is definitely better at doing that, boxing out the man. So it kind of, they both have their weaknesses. They both have their strengths. But I think Xavi's decision would be Christensen and Garcia overall.
And it should be interesting to see, right? Like, of course, we want Araujo and Kounde healthy and starting. Sure. No question about that. But what will be interesting to see is that I think Christensen and Garcia are both better, and certainly Garcia better than Araujo at passing out of the back and building up play. So it will be unique and interesting to see if we see some more We see a center back pairing that is more skilled at what Xavi wants, right? Which is those center backs who can make incisive passes and perhaps bypass the midfield, get the ball out to a running Dembele or Rafinha or Lewandowski, and to see if there's a new element to our offense with this adjusted defense. But yeah, like we're saying, I mean, nothing is making me too happy here with what we're experiencing on the lineup and the injury side. Frankie de Jong, he should be back by the Inter Milan game, so it looks like he might only miss one game. That's what the reports are so far. And we'll come back throughout this month with the old debate, right? Where do we start Gavi and Frankie? Should we rest Pedri after he's been playing for Spain and he's looked pretty tired in the last few weeks in La Liga for Barca? How much can Busquets keep playing when he's also playing for Spain? Is this the month where Kessie gets kind of to shoulder some more burden and proves to us he's more than just a 10-minute player at the end of every game? So I'm really curious to see, kind of how we develop through this month. This is a very young team, right? And we spend every episode talking about how we have to have patience. We have to, not take it easy on these players, but understand that we're going to have growing pains and we're going to grow slowly through this process. And I'm curious to see, where we go from here. One of the things I want to talk to you about in terms of the front line for this month is that there are some reports with Ansu Fati. He's not gone with Spain on this international break. He's had the whole time to rest. This is going to be a time where he has to really come and show what he can do, right? Because, again, even though we don't want to put these pressures on such a young player, there are reports that his teammates think he just is lacking confidence. And so, how often do you think we'll see Fati this month, and what are you expecting to see him kind of to grow back into his old form?
That's a tough question. I will say probably more than I expected before international break, just for the fact that Depay has been injured, and I think Xavi's been using him a little bit more. But in terms of Fati playing, I don't see him starting any of the big games if we have Dembele okay. That's another question, is how healthy is Dembele after some of the reports of, calf or hamstring or whatever it was. That's kind of an unfair question. I feel like there's so many variables to think about here. Dembele and Depay. I would say we have 9 games. We're going to see him appear in 5 of them, but maybe starting 2 at most. Not even, I'd say 1. He hasn't even, the only game he started this whole season, really, I don't think it turned out too well for him. I think he got pulled out in the first 45 minutes. I'm still not 100% sure if his injuries and recoveries are completely done. I know there were reports of Xavi saying that they were going to take it slow with him. So it would be kind of unfair to throw him in this October from hell, as you said at the beginning, and just expect him to perform and do just better than he was doing last month.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me, and I think Ansu, he's had a pretty slow season to start with. Not in terms of goals, because he had some great games. The Real Sociedad game, we all remember, where he came off the bench and I think scored 1 and assisted 2 goals and changed the game. But we've been slowly putting him in, and I think 3 months after the season begins, it's roughly the right time for him to be eased in enough, and so I expect him to take it up a level this month, and we're going to need everyone to really show their best foot, right? We had Lewandowski, who against Bayern Munich didn't have the clinical finishing we were expecting. That can't happen this month, right?
Sure.
Like, we can understand, okay, Lewa's first game back in Munich, he's a little bit nervous, but we're going to really need to be able to put away the shot opportunities we have. There's been some interviews from Pedri with Spain so far where he's talked about how he needs to convert opportunities more, especially after that big miss against Bayern Munich again. And so, that's what I'm really looking to see this month, is that we've created a lot of chances throughout the season so far, and we just really need to be clinical and put them away if we're going to prove that we're a team who can compete for La Liga seriously.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, because even if we didn't have Inter, Real Madrid, and Bayern, Villarreal look really good this season, right? Valencia look, okay. Mallorca is 10th on the table. Celta's 13. And then the big thing that we haven't talked about at all yet this season, is the return of Valverde. Athletic Bilbao is coming to the Camp Nou, and Valverde will be back, and he has Athletic Bilbao looking really, really good this season. And so there are so many interesting storylines happening, and I'm excited, right? Because there's no doubt about it. A month like October from hell will certainly have a mixed bag, right? We might win some games we don't expect to win. We might draw some games that we thought we really should win, and we might even lose a game that we were hoping we were going to win. And so it's just going to be a huge test for Xavi. This is the month for him to really shine.
Yeah, we just need to keep the energy, the consistency, the momentum of this season so far. We need to keep it up, despite all these negatives that are going against us. Our team has shown potential. It has shown growth, and this is just another test, just like Bayern was not too long ago. And it's going to be rough, but I will ask you one final question. We have 9 games, 6 of them being La Liga and the other 3 being from the Champions League. What are your predictions? And if you want to, say whether we're going to win or draw or lose against the Champions League teams.
Well, I really think that we're going to come. I think at home against Inter we'll win. I think Inter away we're also going to win.
Okay.
And I think Bayern Munich will be a draw at the Camp Nou. That's my thought on
2-1-0.
That's my homer thought. Yeah, that's my homer thought for the Champions League. And then in La Liga, I don't know. I mean, Real Madrid away is going to be very hard. I can see us coming away with a draw there. And then I think we probably draw one more game and win 3. So I think that's my prediction, 3-1-1 for the La Liga. What about you?
I said 1-2-0 for...
That might be too positive use. I don't know. I mean, I believe in this team, but if we come away with the month I think we might have, then it would be really special.
Oh, dude, this would set us up for the season, definitely. It's just so hard to see everything coming in the way we want it to be, right? But that was, several videos of us talking about to temper our expectations. But for Champions League, decided we would win 1 against Inter. I don't know which one. I think it would probably be home, and we'll draw them away, and then draw Bayern Munich. And that was my other one. And then for La Liga, I think we might lose a game, which is rough to say, but it's tough to go 9-0.
A game every 3 days.
Yeah. So lose a game, draw a game, win 4. I don't want this to happen. Obviously, I think it would be the best situation if we beat Real Madrid, but it is away. They're still doing pretty hot, and we just got hit with all these injuries, so it's going to be rough to win that one. But yeah, that's
okay. Well, hey, everyone, let us know in the comments. What do you guys think? What's your predictions for this October from hell? How excited are you to see Ernesto Valverde back on the sidelines?
The squad.
Can we beat Inter away like I predicted? Can we, take 2 of 3 in the Champions League this month? This is the month where everything is at play, and the whole season. Before the World Cup, this is really the month that's going to set the stage for what our first half was in a season where the World half is really going to cause a lot of injuries, and it's going to cause a lot of games in the spring. And so let us know in the comments what your thoughts are. We'll be back for the game on Saturday against Mallorca. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, guys.